Yo, hey girl, it's Leah the Shabert, none less, and welcome to Come Box with Shan. Shani. Thanks for joining me. Hi, Shelton. Well, I saw you on there. You was on there, wasn't you, Shelley? Let's make sure I'm a bit well lit so you can see a bitch. Right. So we will be doing introducing the fight fan figure. No good idea.
Bang, bang. Been a minute. You been good?
I've been good. We got other special guests, so we have to keep it moving. Introducing. Pro Bees Pep Talk UK KK.
Evening all, evening fight fan figures, lady
Evening,
chat.
good?
Good. We got to move it. We got introducing introducing
Benji.
Yes, lads. Surrounded by
Hello,
some people. Hello.
Evening.
Hello.
Figures. Lady Chan, Pro Bees, my bro from another Mo.
I
didn't
know.
know Pro Bees was going to be here. And everyone.
Yeah, sometimes I don't say who's coming in.
You
I don't know
surprised us,
who's
didn't you?
coming. You know, you never know who's coming. That's why. Well, hang on. So guys, I'm just trying to get these technicalities. It's weird when the screen's too little. I'm trying to think. How did I? You know, when the screen's too little, how did I do it the last time? You know, when the little squares, the rectangle's too little, bro. I know.
Too little.
Yeah, too little. And then you can only blow it up and then you can't see the comments. But I forgot how I did it. This happened to me the other day. And it was just chill. I don't know what happened. But, okay, let's go anyway. So, guys, thank you for joining the Little Lion Eye. So, I think we've had an eventful week. At least an eventful couple days in boxing. For show. Yeah? And I want to touch base. Right. Are we jumping into the deep end? Are we just jumping into the card of at the weekend? I think so. Make sure there's no lippy on my teeth. Okay. All right, cool. Right. So, yeah, let's dive in at the weekend because I think it's important. So, we're going to go with, jump straight in to the main event. To be honest, I didn't watch the whole card. What was the one before that we watched, Lee? The fight that we watched before.
I cannot even remember.
Soto and Takayama.
That's the one.
Let's go there. Right, guys. Soto, 24-year-old lad. This was for the super flyweight championship. Can't remember what belt. Could be WBO. Anybody chime in? Let me know. And then with the 37-year-old come out of retirement, Takayama. Now, how do you guys feel about this? Because sometimes when you're just retired, yeah, you just stay retired. Because you came out and the lad beat the brakes off of him. The 24-year-old beat the brakes off of him. And if I was right, my memory serves me right, did it not get stopped? Wasn't there a stoppage? Anybody? Hello?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a stoppage? Did you see it, Pro? Did you see it, Benji? Anyone chime in?
I did. I set my alarm clock for like 4:10 in the morning. I woke up just in time to see Billy Joe Saunders walk to the ring.
So you lot didn't see that part. All right.
Yeah, literally.
So we're moving on swiftly, you casuals.
That's the main event only, you know? Yeah.
Them casual vibes that day, boy. Yeah. All right, I don't blame you.
It was all about the main event, though, Shan. It was all about the main. I watched it.
Still shat.
You watched
I can't remember.
We watched it together, Lee, didn't we? All right, then, but we'll touch on that another day. All right, so let's go to the main event. Billy Joe Saunders. What was everybody? Pro, did you have a prediction of that?
You know me with the predictions. You know,
I know.
Keep my big mouth shut. But
you was rooting for Billy Joe Saunders.
Publicly, I wasn't really rooting for no one publicly, but obviously, look, you know, on being on this side of the pond, you know, I wish Billy well in the fight, and it just turned out that, you know, he fell short, but he fell short to a hell of a fighter. You know, people was talking about Lomachenko, Terence Crawford, but for me, I always said Canelo was pound for pound number one. It's all there. And what we saw on the weekend was we saw how good he actually is. Because there were moments in the fight when I was thinking, this is quite close, you know, Billy's kind of heating up, you know, he's putting his hands together nice, 3-4 punch combinations. This could be a problem, but then Canelo he doesn't panic. You know, that experience is key in anything for me.
Yeah.
You know, he just took his time, said, okay, cool. I'm gonna work you out. He found the key, and the key was that sweet pull counter, which, wow, was spectacular. I mean, the way Billy Joe's eye flared up so quickly, because literally, if you blinked, you would have missed the eye swelling up. Wow, that was a hell of a shot. And the damage that it done, I think everyone knows. You know, it was big.
I want to take it back from the beginning of the fight. How did you guys score? How was you scoring this? Because this scoring thing has been so controversial, hasn't it, Lee, as well? Did you? I had Billy Joe Saunders only winning 2 rounds. I had him winning the first round, and I think maybe round 6. I don't even know if I can find the scoring pad. Did you? What did you guys have him? Yeah, I had him. Yeah, round 1 and 6, and that was it.
I think I gave him 4 and 6. I liked when he was moving a lot more. Yeah, the rounds when he was moving a lot more. But I never gave him round 1.
Okay.
I was hoping for the best version of Billy Joe, and he didn't bring it. And he wasn't. I don't know if he wasn't able to. I was just surprised he didn't. The tactics he used in round 4, when he was trying to just jab him, move out of the way, be very slippery. The first 3 rounds before that, he was standing there sometimes trying to jab. He was just allowing Canelo to engage mid to inside. And it wasn't working out for him. And you could see the power when Canelo hit him. There was one shot they had, the angle from the back, and you saw the vibrations going through the whole of his body. And you just knew that he was hurting Billy Joe.
I didn't see it like that because we've been live watch along, so I really...
Yeah.
Because he was watching it on the phone. I was watching it on my phone. When I watched it back on the TV, I saw a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Benji, your take on the fight?
Very similar to Pro B's. I did do a preview video on my channel, get the quick plug in, and it was interesting to go back and see because it was so long ago that I did that prediction, to go back and see what I said. And I'm kind of like Pro B's in this. I wasn't necessarily rooting for anyone. I was rooting and hoping for a good contest. That's all I wanted. And with the mixture of styles, for Billy Joe to have a chance of winning that fight, the tactics that he was going to need to employ were to get around that big-ass ring and use a lot of movement, frustrate. And I was worried that the fight was going to be a stinker. I was worried that it was going to be a frustrating 12-round thing. So I actually thought the fight itself turned out a lot better as a spectacle than I thought it was going to be. The round scoring is an interesting one because I completely agree with the people who scored round 1 to Billy Joe Saunders, but I saw on Twitter a big flare-up about how could you give round 1 to Billy Joe Saunders.
Oh, no,
I saw that a lot. But I mean, and talking like with you guys just now, no one mentioned round 7. I actually thought that round 7 was Billy Joe's best round.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people mention round 7. I did hear.
So I mean, again, it comes down to what you like, but at the end of the day, the scorecards, it's kind of irrelevant. It kind of doesn't matter because like B says, Canelo can just pull that shot out. And I have to say, I think Saul Alvarez is the most complete fighter that I have ever seen, ever. Because even when you look at people like Manny Pacquiao, huge hand speed, got a big punch, not very good defensively, can't box going backwards. Floyd Mayweather, ring IQ is like way up there. Amazing defense, great fit footwork. But especially in the latter end of his career, you'd say that Floyd Mayweather doesn't have that one-punch knockout power. We saw Saul Alvarez at the weekend can literally break people's bones with one shot. His defense is brilliant in the fact that when he's defending, he's moving his head, he's using hand defenses, he's not taking a step back, so it's constant pressure, constant pressure. And it's just all these elements put together makes him such a complete fighter that it's like, well, how is anyone going to beat this guy? So yeah, I mean, it was an amazing performance. I thought Billy Joe Saunders did his very best. I thought it ended quite poetically because obviously this whole quitter thing is a big thing in boxing at the moment. Anyone who's seen me on Pep Talk or on my own channel, I don't subscribe to calling professional boxers quitters because they do something that us mere mortals would never do. But if Billy Joe Saunders was watching himself, he would be calling himself a quitter right now. So I find that quite an interesting sort of concept. There's a something poetic about that. But yeah, I thought it was a better fight than I originally thought it was going to be, and I thought Canelo really did show he was the man. Really did.
Right, bro. How did you gauge it? Like, I know you've just given us a quick synopsis, but how did you gauge it in general? What was you impressed with the performance of BJS, or did it fall short for you? Was there any highlights where you thought, what rounds did you actually give him?
I actually gave Billy Joe the first round, and I gave him the 7th, and another round. It's escaped me, but
so
I was more, funny enough, usually, as we all do the watch-alongs now, it's like with the watch-alongs, you don't get the full scope of the fight. So even tonight was about watching the fight again and kind of deciding exactly how the fight kind of panned out, Right. But look, the fight itself, interesting, because when it first started, I was just like, okay, everyone's downloading information, first 2 rounds. And Billy Joe looked like he was going to do something, because what he was doing is he was getting a jab off, and then he was pivoting out. Classic Billy Joe. So he was gauging the distance and he was getting out of danger, right?
See, I didn't think he gauged the distance, but I'll let you finish.
Okay. I mean, somehow that pivoting stopped because Canelo, as you know, the southpaws, I think everyone would agree, the key is to keep your foot outside the lead foot. And if you watch, I was watching intently exactly what he was doing. And he was doing that. He was keeping his foot outside Billy Joe's foot. So that pivot had disappeared. Like round 4 had disappeared, right? And this is where you appreciate greatness and you appreciate great fighters, because Canelo, he's been in these situations before. He's been in with the movers, Austin Trout, Lara. He can work these guys out. He works out patterns. You see Teofimo Lopez in the fight against Loma. He did this thing called a pivot that Dad talks about a lot as well.
Okay.
So they step forward and they move back, then they move left, and they move right. Apparently, something like that. So
like a crucifix.
Yeah, it's mad. It's the patterns. But what it is for the people that move, like Lomachenko, Joe Saunders, it cuts off the angle. So Canelo had worked that out, and we saw he was working out his plan, and he was hitting Billy Joe to the body. He was getting off a lot of body shots, which we know the plan was long term, drain the energy, drain the movement, and eventually, we'll step it up. And I think what Canelo did was lure Billy Joe into a false sense of security, where Billy Joe got comfortable in the pocket with him, right? Trading a bit, and then bam, you know, that uppercut, that pull counter was a madness. You know what I mean? So I think good performance from Canelo, but I don't know. I think if Billy Joe stuck to the game plan, I reckon his game plan was to box in the inside and then go outside and then stay out of harm's way. But it's difficult because everyone would have said, you know what, it was a stinker. And that was why he was engaging, because I feel like he was trying to offer value for money to people that are watching, and also as well to, you know, the viewers, you know, overall. So good fight. But I feel like I really expected Billy Joe to take him 12 rounds. I fully expected that, because I know Billy Joe's style. And I'm telling you, people that have sparred with him or boxed Billy Joe know that an informed Billy Joe, it's hard to lay a glove on it. It's really hard. But this is Canelo, man. And you know, Canelo, for me as well, because Canelo, he is flat-footed. Like, I'll keep it real. But maybe he don't need to be on the balls of his feet. You know what I'm saying? He is a bit flat-footed. Yeah, he is a bit flat-footed, but again, he knows how to cut the ring off. And that's something that Triple G does well as well. He cuts the ring off. And that's why when Canelo fought Triple G, there were some issues for Canelo, because Triple G can do the same thing that he does. You know what I'm saying? So
interesting. So for me, I identified the footwork. I called it, my prediction, got it totally wrong. I was like going to points by unanimous decision to Canelo.
Yeah.
I would. I could see when people were saying it could be split decision, but I'll stand by for the people that predicted on my live prediction show, and I think one or two people, I'm sure one person
said 8.
Wow. Bro, he said 10th round. He said ninth round stoppage. It was 8 on the stool, but he said 9th round by stoppage. So he was the closest, I think, to be honest. I think someone else said stoppage on the ropes as well, late round stoppage on the ropes, maybe like.
I think that was Lisa. Body shot.
I think Lisa said that. Big up Lisa Fales. I'm sure Lisa said that. But so footwork in the beginning, Billy Joe Saunders' lead foot was on the outside and Canelo's was in the inside. And I kept making that a point, going, why isn't Canelo getting his? Because Billy Joe Saunders was catching Canelo with a couple of those southpaw jabs. So I looked at his feet and I was like, right, he's in that right position, because, you know, you get that blind spot going on. All right, cool. Don't watch nothing. Canelo always readjusts. I thought it was going to be like, it's going to take about 3-4 rounds. Billy Joe Saunders is going to look super sharp. Then all of a sudden, Canelo's going to step up the pace. Well, in my opinion, he stepped up the pace from round 2. But Billy Joe Saunders had great head movement. But as the fight went on, Canelo took away every bit of his arsenal, picked it off. If you look at the latter rounds, Billy Joe's head movement ceases to exist. Once Canelo starts implementing the body shots, that's when it started to be game over. Canelo got into his rhythm, Canelo got into his pattern, worked out Billy Joe Saunders' pattern, worked out going to the body was the thing to do. But I'll skip to why I gave Billy Joe Saunders round 6 is because for some reason, Billy Joe Saunders, well, maybe not for some reason, Mark Tibbs probably told him, right, you go to the body now. So he started to go to the body on Canelo, which he was quite successful with. And it kind of made Canelo kind of fall back a little bit. But listen, you can't be asking for 24 foot ring. You get 22 and you never used it. I don't care if you want to give us like, hooray, like we want to just win, fam. Just win how you win. Win with your strong point. Stick and fucking move. That is why you've made up this uproar for all the space that you didn't use. You never used none of the space. You got backed up consistently in the corner. Backed up. Yeah, Canelo is a master at cutting off the ring. But that's the point that was the whole point why you asked for the additional ring space. No one gets a 24-foot ring, like barely. 20 foot is usually the standard for championship bouts. You got 22 and never used it. Wild to me. Don't understand that. Don't know if he got shell shocked. I don't know what it was. To me, Canelo, I already said that in my life. Canelo's flat-footed. But then Billy Joe Saunders, he was nippy at first. But this is what I'm saying. He was doing his, little cross foot. Then I saw him trying to showboat, which was a no-no because he showboat, let the Roy Jones Jr. spirit take him. True he knows he's commentating. Dropped them hands, got boxed. Canelo boxed him. You can't showboat Canelo. That's pound for pound, number one pound for pound king. Like those moves didn't get it. You've been showing off, so he had to pay for the showing off. And also, punches landed. Billy Joe Saunders, when he landed. But if you notice, out of a flurry of punches, say 5 or 6, 7 shots, out of 7 punches, he landed about 2, guys. Canelo had extremely high guard. Billy Joe Saunders didn't. A lot of Billy Joe Saunders shots weren't any scoring blows at all. That's why I had him super down on the cards. And I've seen some commentators and some commentary talk about they had Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo neck and neck.
Chris Mannix, yeah.
You liars. Yeah, you liars. I've even watched people, so I won't mention that certain channels, they said Billy Joe Saunders, they had it even. How? When? When did you have it even? The first 10 seconds.
But these are probably the same people that thought that Bellew was beating Usyk. The parallels between that fight and Usyk and Bellew, and I talked about this in my review of it, is in the same way that Bellew thought that he was getting the better of Usyk. People were watching that saying, "Oh well, Bellew's he's winning the first half of the round," and then Usyk just took it up another couple of gears that he had and took him out. We all know, and I felt the exact same watching that fight. Billy Joe Saunders, bless him, he did his best. He won a couple of rounds, but to win those rounds and to stay in the fight, Canelo made him work extremely hard, and he dangled the carrot. He let Billy Joe Saunders think, "I'm in this. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can win." And the Billy Joe Saunders fans at home watching it, I'm sure they felt, "Come on, Bill, you can do this. You can outpoint him." And then, bam, just like that. Yeah. That's how you win the mind games. That's how you take someone's soul, give them that little glimpse of hope and belief, and then you shatter their dreams and their eye socket, and that's it.
But, but you know what? If you remember, like Benji, you remember the Amir Khan fight in 2016? The same thing. Amir Khan was boxing nice, and Canelo was a little bit bamboozled up until the point where that knockout came. I think it was round 6.
Yeah, and
he sucked him in, and that's what they call in boxing, setting traps. You know what I mean? And
Canelo's a master of that.
Yeah, he's a master of that. It's down to experience, man. What, 50 odd fights? He's boxed everyone.
Yeah, 57 1 and 2.
There you go. 57 fights. That's mad. Yeah. That is mad.
Yeah, something like that. 57 1 and 2. And so now, did you guys notice when the eye injury happened? Because I just noticed that Billy Joe Saunders was aiding Canelo to connect those punches. Billy Joe Saunders, in the end, let me take it back. What do you guys think of Canelo's engine? Is it still questionable? Because for me it is. But I just think he knows, because he doesn't waste shots, and he's got perfect near enough, like Pro said, setting up traps and punch placement. Every punch that he's punching, he's using, it's to be used and not wasted. Even though he did miss a few on Billy Joe Saunders, and that's where I gave Billy Joe Saunders some good credit, because there was some right hooks that he went and swung for Billy Joe, and it just never happened. And Billy Joe, like I said in the beginning, if you notice, he did some sick moves where he slipped a couple of back-to-back Canelo. I don't know what shots they were at the time. One was a right hook, and then I think he followed through with the left hand. I don't know if it was a straight left, but Billy swerved it. But so I think that helps his tank problems. But I did see him getting a bit frustrated and getting a bit out of gas. What would you say about that?
You know, it's crazy. Like when on the watch along, I actually thought Canelo was showing signs of being a little bit tired earlier on, because, you know, obviously Billy Joe's doing a lot of things. You know, he's moving his head. You know, he's rolling the shots, he's slipping, and all of that with Canelo, you know, is draining his energy. But there came a point in the fight, and I was looking when he sat down in the corner. I think it was like round 5. And I thought, what? This guy ain't tired no more. I looked and I was thinking, wow, miraculous powers. Yeah, and I think that's due to he's been very active. You know what I mean, over the past 6 months.
6 months, yeah.
Which has helped him in this fight. And the guy is never out of the gym. You know, so the fitness levels are going to be insane. You know, whereas like Billy Joe obviously goes up and he has to come down. And we do know once you do that, and it comes to a fight on fight night, you know, your energy might be drawn at times. You know, it happens to fighters. So Canelo, I think he knew he had gears. You know, I think.
Yeah. Leon, fight fans.
Yeah, I didn't see that. He lost energy. I thought he was in control the whole time. I don't think he was rocked or hurt to have his energy lost. Billy Joe wasn't moving as much as I thought he would, which could have tired him out. The main point of his energy loss was through throwing power punches. So yeah, I didn't see that. I thought his energy was fine.
Interesting, because everyone, fight fans always sees things totally. Maybe that's a good thing, I guess. But everybody saw Canelo have a slow down moment where he huffed and puffed.
No? Yeah, I mean, on the topic of Canelo's engine as a whole, I mean, it's always hard to gauge these things because it completely depends on the opponent that he's in with, whether he's got someone like Golovkin sticking it on him or whether he's chasing, you know, a mover around the ring, because it does affect you in different ways in how you expend that energy, whether you're sort of having a foot race to cut the ring off and chase, or if you've got someone who basically won't leave you alone in the way that Golovkin does. I don't think there was much signs of it in that fight, although saying that, on the commentary, I think it was Carl Froch that I was listening to that was in round 7 said, oh, Canelo's looking a bit flat-footed now, we're looking a bit tired. And again, I thought round 7 was possibly Billy Joe's best round. But again, just when you think he's looking tired or getting tired, you know, in the very next round, he just changes the game. But I think it's always a very hard thing to gauge sometimes with fighters and their stamina. I mean, just only a couple of weeks back, Derek Chisora, pretty much every time he sat down on the stool, he's like breathing like that. And as soon as the bell goes for the next round, he gets off the stool and he's back to just, you know, like, he's a completely different character. The guy that sits on the stool and is blowing out of his ass is completely the different guy who boxes for 3 minutes. So it's an interesting one. I think there's an element of Canelo in that, you know, or an element of that in Canelo, I should say.
Yeah, I've always thought Canelo's had gas tank engine problems.
But Sham, if you're tired, you can't throw heavy punches. His punches were rocking Billy and hurting him. I think when you're tired, that's when you start to lose your power. That's why
I think he's changed though. What I'm saying is, he's always had, in my opinion, he's always run out of energy, but he's somehow been able to fine tune it. This is what I'm saying, via not wasting shots, because he throws such powerful punches, and most of his punches. And in this fight, I noticed the absence of a jab from Canelo. You could count them on 2 hands, I'm sure, throughout the whole fight. He was always going for power punches. He just wanted to knock Billy Joe Saunders out. And that's where I saw, you know, when he did miss with a few of those punches, he did pay for it. He did have to, I saw him lose a bit of energy. But where he's such a pro, and I think what Pro's saying is that he's been so active, I think he's able to, like summons almost a second wind, know how to pace that or recapture back the energy to stick to the game plan or get back on track with the game plan. And, you know, he's the master of resetting. Like I said, that Billy Joe Saunders, where he did have the success, I said it was in round 6, is because he switched his punch selection. Once Canelo clocks what your punch selection is, he very much checkmates you. So I was saying on my watch along is that the key to what Billy Joe Saunders is going to have to do is every single round. I know it's hard, and that's what makes you from being a great boxer to elite. But every single round, you've got to change your punch selection. Like, you've got to confuse Canelo.
Did you notice, Shan? If you notice, right, in round 8, like, Canelo caught him with that sweet uppercut. But if you look previously, Billy Joe puts his combinations and rolls out. What did he do in round 8 that led to that dynamic punch from Canelo?
So Canelo went for a right hook. Billy swooped it.
Yep.
Ducked it, and then Canelo came back with an uppercut.
Step back on.
Yeah. So Billy, as he ducked, he then went into the uppercut. So
he worked out.
Swoop,
out,
boom.
Yeah, he worked it out.
Of that.
He worked it out.
Yeah, he can go for one punch and then change it, but that one was a genuine mistake. He went for that. He went for that right hook, and good old Billy did slip it, but he only slipped it and slipped into devastation. He went from the frying pan into the pot, and that's what caught him. And then also Billy Joe Saunders' gas tank always been questionable for me. That whole fight, he got extremely tired, clenching by round 2. Did anybody notice that?
Well, but it's like, as I say, if you've got someone like Canelo who knows how to cut the ring off and is going to stick it on you for the whole of a round and make you work, it is a horrible feeling. Anyone who's sparred or been in the ring or done any boxing knows if you've got an opponent who has what we call a positive defense, in that when they're defending, they're blocking the shots and coming forward. They're using head movement to come forward, and you cannot push them back. You cannot get them back. They don't leave you alone. It's called old manning. That's when you old man someone. And it's a horrible, horrible feeling when you just cannot get this person to leave you alone. And it really does empty the gas tank quick. Mayweather did it to McGregor. Usyk did it to Bellew. We've seen it a number of times. And it's a great tactic, especially when you've got someone who moves a lot, and coupled with the body shots. I mean, it's ridiculous. Most people would their lead shot is a jab. Lead left hand, lead jab. Then you take it to the next level or the level above that, and you see people leading with the right hand. Roy Jones Jr. had a great lead right hand. Floyd Mayweather also led really well with the right hand. Canelo is leading with a left hook to the body from round 1. Who the hell does that? A lead left hook to the body, because it leaves you massively open. If you screw up that punch, you're literally the whole side of your body is open. Yeah. And he's good enough and confident enough from round 1 to have his game plan, to know that he wants to go to the body, take Billy Joe's movement away from the opening bell, and he's leading with a damn left hook. Who the hell does that? I'm speechless as it is.
Yeah, he's just the master. He's the master, isn't it? I don't know. I don't see anyone beating him. Now, quickly moving on to, do you see anyone beating him in this weight cap?
I cannot see any serious challenges. I cannot see any serious challenges. There's always an upset in boxing when this happens, but I cannot see any serious challenges for him.
Yeah,
You
to be
don't
honest,
think
like,
Chris Eubank Jones Jr. can beat Canelo?
No. Oh, that was a bloody joke. I was worried. I was about to kick you off the stream because I thought you was going through stuff with that comment. Yeah, Benji's not well. Chris Eubanks Jr. And
He'll just be target practice for Canelo. He'll be
he
target
did a
practice.
meanie thing though. He shouldn't have laughed like that about what happened to
No,
Billy Joe
you have to
like
address him by his new name. It's Chris Eubank Jones Jr. It's his new name.
That's his new name, mate. I know. So, okay, so what I'm saying is, so no one can see anyone moving up Canelo in this weight cap.
you know, I think
Benavidez.
Benavidez has got power. That's the only one that's got the size and the power to trouble him, but still, he's not had the elite fights like Canelo. He's still quite green.
Yeah.
And Caleb Plant, yeah, he can move. He can move. He's got skills. I've watched him. He's very similar to Billy Joe, the way he moves about.
Yeah.
Very similar. But again, the power. The thing with Canelo, we've seen him take the best shots from Triple G. He was a monster. And the shots just bounced off his chin. So I don't know if Canelo goes up to light heavy, then I can see maybe a potential problem.
No, he said he's not. He said he's not.
Super middle.
No.
At the moment, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it.
Yeah. He said people only want me to go to light heavy 175 to see me lose. And that's true. Stop throwing him through weight caps, like up and up. If the man is like he's four weight champ, right? Leave him where he is. He's already said I ain't going to 175. Yes, I fought Kovalev. I saw it was a strategic move. That's what he did, you know, Aileen Kovalev. Anthony Yard had almost got the success on him previously, so he's kind of withered. Quickly go grab a belt up there. It was a good strategy. It was a good strategic move to do. But for him to go and you guys to think that he's going to go to 175 people out there and be successful, no, he'll lose. So, and then also, oh yeah, like H Money said, I was going to say this. Big up H Money.
Andrade.
Demetrius Andrade. You saw the kerfuffle of going on. What do you think about that? Do you think Andrade, for me, it was classless? Maybe I'm just getting old and boring, but to me, it was a bit classless. Andrade, yeah, we know the issues at 160. Mate, hop up to 168. You're still not getting the fight, especially now how you did this. Do you see internal conflict? Do you see Andrade's style? I see Andrade's style is tricky for Canelo, but the on point Andrade. The Andrade that just about beat Liam Williams. You shouldn't really be barging through a press conference after that performance, mate. No disrespect to Liam Williams, but Liam Williams, it was more a testament to Liam Williams than to Andrade. Liam Williams, even though he didn't win, he done amazingly well. Andrade, you're chasing the #1 pound for pound king, and you just about beat Liam Williams. Nah.
But Shan, he had to.
You need to stop.
He had to do something, Shan.
No, he didn't. Not at once.
Because he can't get any other fights. He has to try.
Yeah, well, he's not getting this fight. What
so
I'm
he's
saying
trying
is
something to make Canelo want to fight him. He's trying
not on
something.
Canelo's level. He's not on Canelo's level.
Look, I have to say, I agree with Lee. You have to buy the lottery ticket. If there is even the sliver of a chance that you can get a multi-million-pound payday with the pound for pound king, mate, I'd run into a press conference with my cock out if I could get $1 million fight with someone. You wouldn't do it.
Get a million years in jail for that, but I don't know about $1 million fight. Maybe 1 million years in jail. If you do that, Benj. Let me know though. I'll come and watch just to see. Stand by. You know what I mean? No, but levels. There's levels to this shit.
But who is on his level though? Who is?
Listen, Andrade's not even in his weight class. He ain't even moved up yet. Move up, then talk.
Because we just heard a very compelling case that he's pound for pound #1. So
You
there is no one
about
on his
beat Liam
level.
Williams. You just about beat Liam Williams. How does that make? That's why Canelo went.
Because BJ's just come off of an average performance against Murray, and he got the fight.
Yeah, because
Right.
it. Hang on, what does Andrade have for Canelo?
Nothing.
No belt. They're not in the same weight class. Billy
Which
Joe
is why-
Saunders had a belt.
Which
Yeah.
is why I see why Andre ran up on him, so that he just wants to beat the crap out of him. It's not worked.
doesn't
It's made
make-
Canelo more determined not to fight him because he's like, I'm not going to give you a payday.
Yeah, so I don't
But he
understand what
tried.
the point of it. There was no point of it. You're not in the same weight class. You don't have a belt. Null and void. It's air. Anyone
Unless
agrees?
he's going to move up, make himself mandatory, he's
Then that's
not going to
it.
get the fight.
Yeah, that would have been the way. You even come in the press conference and, make a little uproar like, like the first bit. Yeah, I'm your biggest fan. Take a bit of the limelight from Canelo onto him. Like,
But to be
And
fair,
then
but to be fair, Shani, he did come in and he did congratulate Canelo.
it was sarcasm.
You reckon? Yeah.
It was sarcasm. He didn't mean it. That's why Canelo
Cold
went.
as ice.
That's when Canelo and he goes, "I'm your biggest fan," and Canelo went, "Yes, I know you are." Like Canelo cottoned on straight away. It was pure sarcasm.
But the thing is, look, in my younger days when I used to go out to nightclubs and do all that sort of thing before I met the wife and all that lot, if I saw a really, really hot girl at the end of the bar, I'd say, right, I'm going over there and I'm going to pull out the lines and see what we can do. And my friends would say, Ben, you've got no chance. She's really fit and look at the state of you. You've got no chance. I said, well, look, if I don't go over there, I ain't going to get her. If I go over there, I probably ain't going to get her. But you never know. She might be really drunk and really desperate, maybe just come off a divorce, something like that. So you've got to put yourself in the game.
Closed mouths
You've
don't
got to
get
put
fed.
yourself in the game.
You don't ask, you don't
Otherwise,
get.
There you go.
if there's a small chance that you're not going home for a pot noodle and a wank, you've got to take it.
What show is this again now?
Benji.
It's after 8. It's after 8. The kids are all in bed.
After
now.
the watershed. That's all right. I do it at 2 p.m. Don't worry about it. Listen, but I deal with like things that are a bit more logical. Like, was it gonna ever be, with that angle? Was it ever going to be able for him to get a fight?
Yeah, but okay, Shan. If you look at Logan Paul's fighting Mayweather, right? Next month. Jake Paul turned up for a reason. Yeah, he turned up for a reason to get their attention, blah blah blah, and then make Mayweather fight him afterwards. Sometimes you just got to pull up. You got to pull up. If you want the big fights, you got to make your voice known, and heard.
Yeah. I get it. I get it, but I don't. Canelo waited for Billy's sweeping hook, half step back to avoid it, feinted left hook, causing Billy to duck it, then caught him with the uppercut, punch of the year, in my opinion. Paul counter uppercut. Matters. Yeah, Matters. It was a Matters. And then, so that got dismissed. The press conference.
Yeah.
The press conference that year. It was a mad shot. The press conference. Where do you see with Eddie Hearn, who has Andrade on the books, but not really doing anything for Andrade and was telling Andrade, like, basically to the security and get him out. Like, how do you feel as you use Andrade? What does Andrade do? Because he seems to be stuck between a rock and a hard place.
He's
think
got-
Eddie understands.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Benj, you set yourself up for these comments, Benj.
But there's
on.
3 guys with a beard though. There's 3 guys with a beard.
Oh yeah, they all got beards, mate. Even I have. They could be talking about me, love. That guy with beard in red. Go on. Go. Yeah. So, like, I think it was from a place of frustration as well with the situation that Andrade's in. That why
No one wants to fight him. He can't get any meaningful fights.
So what's Eddie doing? This is what I'm asking you guys.
Eddie's been making offers, decent money. They're just not taking it.
What
He's
if?
offered to send him to PBC. He's offered them $7 million to come to the zone. I think it was. I don't see what else Eddie can do.
Yeah. And Charles said he'd never fight him as well, isn't it? Yeah.
I think there's a good chance Andrade walked out of that press conference and the first thing he said to Eddie Hearn was, look, you said if I did that, you'd give me the fight. Probably just to set up. Because let's face it, it's an easy. It'd be an easy fight for Eddie Hearn to make. It'd be worth a lot of money to him.
Well, it's not happening because Canelo said he's a horrible fighter. You're a Canelo duppied. And he can't even speak English that well, and he duppied him in English.
The thing is, he's not a horrible fighter. I think he more thinks he's a horrible person, and he just doesn't want to give him a payday. Andrade's not a horrible fighter.
But to his limited English, to Canelo, his fighting style, maybe he probably doesn't know how to say awkward. He just wants to dup you a minute. You're a horrible fighter. You're rubbish, man. He just wants to dun him. But remember, he's limited English, so he's like horrible. Like horrible in Spanish and horrible in English is the same. You just take off the A. It's spelt the same, so it's probably easy for him to jump into. Do you understand? So draw for that. You're a horrible fighter. Horrible, horrible, horrible. So Andrade, I don't know where he's going. I don't know if he. And then you got the Charlos coming in. I just think it's all it's a bit messy over there, to be honest. All right, moving along quickly then. Out of that, to news reports, did you see it? Tom Saunders getting Superman handled. Tyson Fury. What did you think of Tyson Fury's presence there? Consistently, all right, you're there to support, but you're there doing every bit of press. Of course, you're going to do every bit of press because everybody's going to want you on their channel because you're the WBC heavyweight champion of the world at the minute. But you kind of took the limelight. You kind of how about getting your own fight? How about sealing up your own fight? Maybe doing a little 1-2 press and then chilling out and actually saying, you know what, I don't actually want to take all the limelight off of Billy Joe Saunders, or having to force Billy Joe Saunders to do some of the press that he actually didn't actually want to do. But because Tyson Fury was there, he felt that he had to come out and be like that. All in one foul swoop, you've taken all of his shine. And then when he lost, nothing. We had a peak or nothing. Go on, someone chime in.
I just think obviously that's his mate, and it's a delicate situation. The guy's just got his eye socket busted. So I think, and I did holler at Tom Little as well, and they're quiet because obviously they don't want to be insensitive with their mate.
They feel shame. So, no, it's not because it's that. They feel shame. You know why they feel shame, bro? Because they went there and talked up. It's all good. Boost your culture all day long. But you went there with a bag of chat. The gypsy culture this. We don't lose. He's got Canelo. He's going to beat Canelo like this. And you know this and you know that. The gypsy curses is on you. This and that and that and that. Bare bag of chat. Bare chat.
Don't you just think that was all just part of the show though, Shan? Just to sell it a bit more.
Yeah. Well then say something now. You can. And I'm just gonna let Pro has to leave because he did say he's only had half an hour and he's been here 48 minutes. Pro, thank you so much. Salute, my bro. And I'll chat to you later. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us.
Cheers, Benji. Yeah? Cheers, Leo. Cheers, Shan. Cheers,
later, bro. I'll speak to you later.
Cheers. Thank you.
See ya.
Well, what happens is, Shan, once you give all of that talk, you leave yourself open to severe criticism when you quit on your stall. You know, and that's what's happening now. You know, it did generate interest. It got me hyped for the fight. I was hyped for it. All of those antics.
Well, I wasn't hyped because Tyson Fury was there. I wasn't hyped because of the gypsy magic. I was just hyped because it was a good
juicy
fight.
Beef comment I liked. The juicy beef.
There's nothing to do with no gypsy magic, fam. I've grown with gypsy, so I know Wagwan. So it's nothing new to me. They've always did those types of things, but now it's in boxing. So, and it was at the highest level. You failed.
They're all in an awkward situation because of the whole quitting thing. Because if it was any other boxer,
don't do that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it hadn't been Billy Joe Saunders, if it was another boxer in exactly the same situation, Billy Joe Saunders, Tyson Fury, the whole gang would be, he quit. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. And so now
that's why I'm raining down on them now It's my turn.
Well,
yeah, I'm raining down on
Keep the
them.
same energy. Keep that same
Keep
energy.
the same energy at all times. Bag of chat, come out now and say, you know what, the little Tinkerbell magic just didn't work. But, you know, fair play to Canelo. Move it along, board your private jet and go. Go ahead, Benji. Sorry for that rant.
No, that's it. I mean, look, if I'd have been calling other boxers quitters and all this sort of thing, and then your best mate has that situation, shall we say, it's going to put you in an awkward one, isn't it? It's well, how do you comment on this? But and I think more boxers maybe need to, you know, Chris Eubank Jr. It's all very well him good laughing and this, that, and the other, and I won me 10 grand and all that lot. Karma. I'm not in any way, shape, or form a spiritual, religious, or anything like that type person.
No, because you're a Viking.
That's well, yeah, but no, you've got to be careful what you say because these words can come back and bite you in the ass down the line.
Yeah,
they really can.
And you don't need to be spiritual for the laws of physics to work. It's just a thing. It's just the laws of physics. What you put out, we're all vibrations, we're all energies. Nothing. It's not tied to a religion. It's just what is the word? Anatomy. And we're vibrations, we're energy. And if you vibrate on a certain frequency, that frequency will surround you. It's just as simple as that.
I'd go a little bit simpler than that because as I always say on my own channel, anything can happen in boxing. And if anything can happen in boxing, it can happen to you if you're taking part in the sport.
Anything. You know? We say this in Jamaica, Benji. We say anything or anything. That anything or anything. Like, you know, it means anything is anything, mate. Anything is anything. Anything can go off at any given time. Predict the unpredictable. Yeah. And this, so for me, yeah, don't want to hear no about gypsy magic, gypsy nothing again. Because you've now made your thing, you've made your thing look a bit weak now. You've made it look weak. No, because you can have all the talk. All you've got to do is have the etiquette and decorum to just still congratulate the winner and just say, you know what, congratulations to the winner. And, you know, commiserations, or don't even have to say commiserations. Our guy, Billy Joe Saunders, you know, good luck to him. We're all here for him. That's it. The silence, Tyson Fury was spotted after that good old fight there, not doing anything with his gypsy magic yet again. Is that a thing? Am I too harsh? Was Tyson Fury not supposed to bound over that barrier, just stand in the middle? Not saying get in the fight, just stand in the middle as the tallest geezer in probably the room, that whole arena.
I think after the dad got shoved on the floor.
All of the other gypsies did. All of the other gypsy entourage did. Fair play to them. They went and helped Tom. Like Counterpunch Boxing News said, it wasn't like that security guard saw Tom coming from 10, 20 rows behind. You're at the first 5 rows where that is allocated for important people. So if you see someone in a Billy Joe Saunders tracksuit with the rest of it, jump up. Why are you going to rugby tackle him or NFL like you're an NFL quarterback? All right, you're out of order. But fair play to Billy Joe Saunders' other team members. They came in and helped. Tyson Fury stood there in his Versace tie-dye stupidity jacket or shirt and just was like that. I don't roll with people like that. I don't care who I am, how much money I'm worth, what my profile is, whoever I roll out with, whoever I'm supporting. If they're in a fight, I'm in a fight. The end.
Yeah, I'd like to think if I was out, even if one of my friends' parents were acting a bit belligerent or out of hand,
he wasn't acting.
I'd like to think that if the security just shoved someone down to the floor like that, I would at least get in between them and help them. Yeah, I would at least get in between them and, you know, stop them from getting any more damage.
Yeah,
and,
just
and move them to
diffuse it,
safety. You don't have to get into any scraps with anybody.
Yeah,
but
just defuse it. You're a tall guy, geezer. You're taller than all of the security that was there. All you had to do is just like step over and be like, nah, man. Like, I guarantee it would have just all diffused. But this is what I'm saying. Too much chat. They've got too much talk, too much bark, and no bite, mate. And it's making me lose hope with this whole. You put in your culture as the forefront of your moral code of conduct, but everything that you're saying that you stand for, you do the opposite.
I've heard a lot of Fury fans have noticed a stark difference between now and after the Klitschko win, and they think he's very much changed his tune. He's saying stuff to be accepted in the media because he was roundly turned upon after Klitschko with some of his comments and stuff. And he was, the whole campaign to boycott the sports, for him to be excluded from the Sports Personality of the Year. That's why he was mentioning that BBC, or whatever he called them, on the Eddie Hearn's podcast, because he hasn't forgotten, but he has changed his tune. And a lot of the Fury fans used to compare Fury to Joshua, saying Joshua's a company man, he's saying stuff to be corporate. Fury's saying he's standing up for his beliefs, he's even in the face of all of it. And now that he's abandoned that and he's doing the same thing, he's getting the public acceptance, it's wound a lot of them up. And it seems like you've noticed it, and you're starting to notice that some of the stuff that he's claiming to stand for, when it comes to actions backing it, it's no longer happening. What he does in the ring is great, but when you listen to what he says outside of the ring about values, etc., they don't always hold true, and it's starting to annoy a lot of people. Yeah,
it looks weak. Because also, shouts out to Bruce Vane on this one. Yeah, he hit the nail on the head. Tyson Fury went on record saying if he doesn't beat Anthony Joshua in 3 rounds, he's quitting on the stool. So that's what you lot do then. You lot quit on stools. Yep. You can't refute that. If he doesn't beat Anthony Joshua in 3 rounds, he's quitting on the stool. So they condone quitting. So stop being contradictory. If you're saying that just for shock value, cool, it's still double backed on you, mate. Because your mate just quit on the stool. We'll go into that in a minute was it a quit or whatever. We're going to go into that, but let me just paint it. Your mate technically quit on the stool. You're saying that you'll quit on the stool if you don't beat AJ in 3 rounds. I want to see you do it. Call your bluff. When you don't mash him up in 3 rounds, I really want to see you quit on that stool. Because if you don't quit on the stool, you're a liar. And if you do quit on the stool, you're a quitter.
Yeah, so but this is the genius.
Everyone's just seeing how gassed up he just cracked shit. Everyone's now seeing it.
But Shan, this is the genius of him. This is his absolute genius.
Yeah.
He can say completely conflicting and contrasting statements from one week to the next. His actions don't have to match his statements. And he's still the Gypsy King. Like he's still out there jogging with kids a few days. He's on there doing some exercises on YouTube, and people love him.
Yeah, no, people let the
he's got a lot of support.
Let the ripple settle, Leon. We haven't seen what the like you said, people starting to see certain things that don't make sense of the whole Gypsy thing and how he ducked out on his friend, and and then I saw people going on my commentaries like trying their hardest. Benji, sorry, I'm going to let you in a minute. Trying their hardest. I saw people, Benji, trying their hardest on my commentary to make it make sense why Tyson Fury was a beep. Because they're different types of gypsies. Billy Joe Saunders is a Romany and Tyson Fury is Irish. So
no, Tyson was jogging with him. He's seen him there. They know each other. He came to the fight. He didn't go, I'm coming to the fight, but just remember, I'm this type of gypsy. And listen, there's just gypsies all one. That's like me going, I'm coming to the fight to watch AJ, but I'm this kind of black, and he's that kind of black. He's African black, and I'm West Indian black, but black nonetheless, and gypsies nonetheless. So when I see people doing that Deontay Wilder delusions of grandeur type of analogies in my comments, that's when I just know
it's just pear shaped out here. I ain't got time for it. Don't leave them type of comments in my comment box. They'll just be ignored. They'll be laughed at and then ignored. But Benji, chime in, please, sir. What do you think?
I mean, you've said a lot of stuff. There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, sorry. You have a go.
No. I was enjoying listening. Where do you want to start at?
So, should he have got involved to diffuse the situation of Tom getting manhandled, just to diffuse it?
Yeah. Okay. Possibly. Possibly. At the same time, I mean, I watched on your channel the footage of that incident, and it was kind of, it's hard to see what was going on. I mean, Tom jumped the barrier, the security went in, and then you could say the security went in a bit too harsh with it. Tyson Fury didn't do anything. He could have stepped in and said something or did something. At the same time, I mean, if Tyson Fury is getting ready for a fight or something like that, does he want to risk any sort of injury, bad press, getting arrested, assaulted, whatever? I mean, him getting involved in this situation could have made it worse. We don't know. I mean,
well, you're 6'9", you're nearly 7 foot tall. You're taller than anyone. All you have to do is stand there, like posted, like a lamppost, and go, "No, do you know what? That's my friend's dad." And I guarantee the security wouldn't have tackled him to the ground. They wouldn't have tackled Tyson Fury to the ground unless he was doing some, imposing or aggressive movement towards them. Then yeah, maybe so.
But, I mean, let's face it. Over in America, would you trust a policeman over in America? But
they were just security. They weren't even police.
Well, but what I'm saying is, people in positions of power, they're not always the most moral or ethical people just because he has a security T-shirt on. I mean, the fact that, I think we're all in agreement. He went overboard in throwing a man to the ground. So if Tyson Fury then gets involved,
as well, an older geezer as well.
And if Tyson Fury gets involved, maybe a few more security jump in and want to make names for themselves and see their 15 minutes of fame.
You could have killed him.
Well, possibly could have. So the other way of looking at it is what's been said about Tyson Fury and how he's changed. Mm-hmm. He might have matured. He was, he's a bit older these days.
He looked coked out of his head before the fight.
Well, there you go. That was part of it as well.
He did. He was off, and it weren't alcohol. And it weren't no alcohol, mate. Sorry, I was looking at that like, whoa. He may want to lay off the alleged white powder.
But there you go. What Fury jumps in? Fury jumps in. There's a melee, and Fury gets arrested, and then piss tested, drug tested. That could have its implications as well.
Yeah.
Or even
that's
search.
True.
So
go on. Sorry.
There's a lot more elements to it. You know what I mean? But I think we're all in agreement. If we're out with our friends and someone attacks our friends, whatever, the majority of people are going to step in.
Try and step in and diffuse,
But there are circumstances to it. But with Tyson Fury now, whenever I see a Tyson Fury interview or something like that, I just take it with a pinch of salt. I don't take it. It's kind of like a Trump thing. People thought, a lot of people thought Trump was a genius, but when your audience, when the people that you're trying to captivate and express to are very, shall we say, malleable and want to believe everything you say and are going to back you up no matter what. And I think Tyson Fury is kind of in that situation now. If Tyson Fury says white is black, his fans will find some way to rationalize that. You can't, you know what I mean? And it's kind of the same with the Deontay Wilder fans now. I mean, I don't have to tell you, Chan, you know this far better than me, the lengths that Deontay Wilder's fans will go to deny or distort reality.
They're the
just
same
in
as
the
Fury
name.
fans. There's not much difference. Besides, I've realised. I can see it. There's not much difference between the two. They just support two different fighters. But as weird and as deluded as they both are.
Well, that's it. But you find this with anyone who is a hardcore fan of, maybe it's a person, a celebrity, a football team, or a politician or anything like that. And it's something that I think we've become more maybe aware of in recent times, and it's something that I try and avoid now. And like with Pro Bs, I don't really want to be a fan of a single boxer. I want to be a fan of boxing. I don't want to throw my own morals and ethics under the bus for a famous person that I don't even know, just because I'm a fan of that person. I think, out there somewhere will be people that used to love Jimmy Savile, and look what happened there. You know what I mean? It's never a good idea to be defending and being a zealot to people that you don't know.
Yeah. And do you think this puts a dent in the whole gypsy image for, like, do you think public relations are like, oh, that's a bit like everybody's got a bit,
I don't think it really matters.
You say we're all saying all of this big talk and then saying that he'll quit on the stool and you didn't jump in. And
in the tiny boxing world, maybe.
I
don't think that necessarily affects the traveling community.
Would you listen to anything that they like in the box? Not, I'm talking about travelers outside of boxing, but travelers inside of the boxing, like boxers that are travelers, and then they're going to say, oh, there's trash talk, and then there's talk if they connect it to, oh, because gypsies never lose. Are you ever going to listen to that and believe that again?
But the thing is, again, it's taking people as individuals, and I've met a number of travellers that have come into our boxing club. I mean, there's a couple of travellers that train at our boxing club now.
Yeah,
they are individuals. They've all, they might have certain similar traits. Just as me as a white man, I will have similar traits to other white men. But they're still individual people. But the thing is, every traveller that I've met that's come into the boxing club, one of the traits they have in common is that they've never backed down for a fight, and they're from getting in the ring, and they're always tough. So I don't think Tyson Fury's comments or actions are going to affect that at all. I think the travellers,
because every traveller I know, they don't ever back down from all of that either, and he's backed down. So this is what I'm saying.
But that doesn't mean anybody else is going to follow suit. Like, if it's not in your nature to back down, it's not in your nature to back down. So another person.
Yeah, but then don't say it. Then that's my whole point. Don't say what you don't say something. It's cool if that's not in your nature. Just don't say that it is.
But that's why we can only hold the boxers that actually say it. We can only hold them to that standard.
Yeah.
If I decide to speak for every black person in the world, I've got absolutely no right to. So anyone can only hold me for what I say.
True.
I can't be a representative for a whole race of people.
No, I just don't want to hear. I just don't want to hear that it's so sad, because the gypsy culture and the travel culture and the travellers that I know, it is they are fighting men. It is that they've got a lot of integrity, and it is. And then another thing, and then you say this, you put this in a boxing sphere, and you put that out there, but you do the total opposite. And then with the there was another point that I just had, and it just slipped my mind about I'll remember it at another point. But then also about not this moving along a little bit. I digress a little bit about Tyson Fury going on Eddie Hearn's podcast and saying, look, like the deal, I don't care about the fame. Well, you clearly do, because you've come and done every fucking press fucking channel, and it's not even your fight. So that's a lie. And then I don't care about the money. I'm a fighting man. All right. I'll quit. I'll quit on my stool if I don't beat AJ after three rounds. So you've just contradicted yourself within there. And then you do care about the money, because I just did a report because Frank Warren just came up and said, listen, Tyson ain't signing the contract because he wants to know that the money is guaranteed by the bankers. All right, well, so it is about the money then. This fight is stalling because of money. So this is what I'm saying. So for me, I can pick you to pieces. I'm the Canelo. You're the Billy Joe Saunders in this. I've just picked Tyson Fury to pieces because he's full of shit, in my opinion. And I've had enough. That's all I wanted to say.
But his magic is he can say that, he can be full of shit, and he will still be adored by so many people. It's actually genius what he does. It's actually quite genius.
That's their business. He's going around on this tour saying, I said it about Deontay Wilder. I said, look, but I noticed he had to, I just watch everything. I noticed he had to do a little edit in there. What I said I was going to do to Deontay Wilder, I did it. No, but you said you was going to do it in 2 rounds. So you've quickly edited that bit out. And everyone's like, yeah, he did do it. What he said about Deontay, how he was going to, yeah, but if we're going to take it word for word here, he said he was going to do it in 2 rounds. Now that he didn't do it in 2 rounds, and it took him, he got him out in round, 7 or 9?
But Sham.
No. Let me just finish my point. 7 or 9 did he get him out? Round 7 or 9. So therefore, yet again, another discrepancy in your talk. So I just really don't want to listen to any more of what you've got to say. Like Benji said, you take it with a pinch of salt. I get it. Go ahead.
He often promises he's going to do. He often makes predictions for fights, and they're not always correct. But because he's so entertaining and outrageous, because he's so outrageous, by the time they think about it, they move on to the next outrageous thing he said, and then that one gets forgotten about. So he actually doesn't have to live up to what he says because he's undefeated in the ring. While he's undefeated, he keeps winning, collecting belts. It don't matter whether he doesn't defend them. It doesn't matter whether he loses them through drugs and booking mandatories that he didn't have, and booking rematches that he didn't have to. He still hasn't lost his belts in the ring. He can claim that lineal title. He's got the Ring Magazine, the WBC, and he can live quite happily off of that. So he can say what he wants. So he can literally say what he wants.
But look, here's the scarier bit of it. And you know what you've just described is I would literally class it as the Trump effect. I really would. When you can give interviews and say things or do things, your actions, and your fan base will rationalize it and make it fit the mold and make it work. What happens if we get AJ versus Fury, and let's just say hypothetically, pulling things out my arse, let's say AJ completely cleans him out and outboxes him over 12 rounds. You will still have Tyson Fury fans saying, no, Fury won the fight. Maybe AJ knocks him out in round 5. Oh, no. Fury slipped. It was a fast count. He got up before the 10. You can see where it goes. So when you've got your fan base in a situation where they will rationalize and twist and distort and bend anything you say and do to fit a certain narrative, it doesn't matter if you win or lose anymore because they'll sort it out for you. And
but that's the same. A normal fan. I'm a fan of AJ, but he got his ass beat in Madison Square Garden fair and square. I didn't make up no excuse and no nothing.
No. But we're talking about you're like. We're talking about fan as in fanatic. We're talking, like look at the Billy Joe Saunders thing, right? This is a great example, right? When the ring is 20 feet, Canelo's cheating. It's Canelo's advantage. It's blah 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 blah. As soon as we get a big ring that Billy Joe Saunders wants, that's 22 foot plus whatever. Oh no, it's fair now. Well, no, it's not. It's to Billy Joe Saunders' advantage. So why aren't you holding him to the same standard and saying, well, no, it's an unfair advantage. He's cheating. So when the ring's 20 feet or less, Canelo's cheating. It's an unfair advantage. Blah 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 blah. When Billy Joe Saunders gets what he wants, oh, it's fair. Do you see what I'm saying? And this is the situation where we're now where people aren't looking at things objectively. You've got your dog in the fight, whether it's Deontay Wilder, whether it's Tyson Fury. I'll even say there are probably some AJ fans out there that are like that.
I ain't met none yet, Ben.
Well, they almost popped out after he lost to Ruiz. Sorry, they almost popped out after he lost to Ruiz, but AJ come out and shut it down and said, "I wasn't, forget all of that noise. I lost. The better man won. I'm going to get my belts back," and it quashed a lot of it.
And everyone shut up, didn't they? I've never seen AJ fans going on everyone's pages and trolling and threatening violence and death. Don't see it. Well, I see Tyson Fury ones do it, and I see Deontay Wilder ones do it. I see it.
I haven't seen that either. But look, the thing is, I've never seen a frigging mongoose in real life, but I'm sure they exist. You know what I'm saying? Just because I
went to Australia.
I'm just saying, just because there you go. But I haven't. So the thing is, just because I might not have necessarily met or interacted with certain people, the point I'm trying to make is fanatics and zealots. They exist in all shapes and forms in all sections of society.
Well, they make you sick.
Well, I just don't want to be one. I want to look at things objectively and subjectively, because, as I say, I think it's a really shit road to go down when you're trying to deny reality to shape the narrative that you want. You have to live in the real world, and you have to say, you have to believe reality and believe your own eyes. That happened. You can't twist and distort it. To make
the very least you can do. Sorry, Benji. The very least you can do is understand when you do have some kind of bias for or against somebody and say, look, I don't like the guy, or me, I can't see the guy does anything wrong. And then you present, and you say, I'm looking at it from this perspective. But when you try and genuinely push it as if twisting reality to prove a point, it gets a bit embarrassing. It's just embarrassing when it's being listened to. It's just a step too far.
And the thing is, I wouldn't go on anyone's channel that was like that. If obviously I've been on Pep Talk on Pro B's lot. I like Pro B's because he looks at things that you can call him a fence sitter or whatever, but he's very objective. And the thing is, he surrounds himself with other people like Joe who are the same. I don't think I'm never going to get invited, but I would never go on these Deontay Wilder fan channels. I probably wouldn't even. I mean, obviously, Chan, you debate.
You can tag along with me, mate. Yeah, you can tag along with me.
I even do that. I'm not even sure I do that.
Yeah,
I ain't got time for that.
Yeah,
I just don't have time for it.
That's why I'm tired every day because they drain you. Yeah, your soul. They drain your soul. Go on. Yeah, all right. There was something I was going to say. Okay, so Gorga, this is what I'm saying. You're saying something that's not confirmed. Fury clearly saw Tom punch the guard. That's why he didn't jump in, I think. What do you mean you think? You're saying that like it's a fact. Show me where Tom punched the guard. This is what I'm saying. They always make up something because they feel shamed that the person that they worship is an idiot or did something of some kind of idiocy. Just accept it. You can't say you think and say it like it's a fact. If it's a fact, send me the link and I'll look at it. But no, that didn't happen thus far. I showed you the footage on my channel twice. You saw Tom jump the gate. That's what you saw Tom do. You never saw Tom jump the gate and punch the security guard. This is what I'm saying. It's just, look, just as we're talking about it, it happens.
I don't know. I just think if the guard had any kind of awareness of the type of nutters in the comments in boxing, he'd understand why the guard wasn't having any of it and was straight to just shoving down.
They'd be armed. These lot are loops, mate.
That's a great question, Shelton.
Does the panel think that Plant will turn down the Canelo? That Plant will turn down the Canelo fight after this performance? No.
He's turned it down twice already, hasn't he?
Oh, he has done. Yeah.
He's turned it down twice already.
But hey, So you guys, can unification be forced if you're not because he's not Mando? So
It's rare.
Could he flop this whole road to undisputed? I mean, not unification, a road to undisputed. Then, like,
I think
to
it's rare
unify
for,
all of the belts. Well, it is.
it's rare for other champions to be mandated to fight another champion, but Mauricio Suleiman has mentioned it about governing bodies working together to create unified champions or undisputed. And I think with a Canelo, if there's anybody that could force the issue or have sway, the only thing against it is I think it's the IBF, and they're very strict with following their rules and their agreements. So unless there's a legal way where they can't be challenged for that to happen, for another champion to be mandated, which there probably is, because I don't think there's any rule that says you can't. It's just something they're not normally ranked when they're a champion.
Right.
It can be mandated, but that seems to be, because unless the PBC are willing to play ball, Plant simply will not fight him. That's just how PBC fighters are. They
What do
fight
you
on
think
their
then?
terms.
So what do you think? Do you think Caleb Plant will turn this fight down then, Ben? He better not.
He must hate money. That's what I think about that. I mean, if he's turned it down twice already, maybe he's hoping the amount of money that he's going to get is going to move up a little bit. I mean, and if that happens, fair play to him. But again, it's like one of these things. It used to be if you got offered a Pacquiao fight or a Mayweather fight, you'd just take it because I mean that's retirement money. That's the sort of money that's going to set you up. Like Billy Joe Saunders. In a way, I mean, if that's it for him, because that's a severe eye injury,
we're getting onto that actually. I want to talk
he
about
boxed at the highest level in that. If he decides to retire now because he's got all that money to retire on, fair play to him. And again, like,
but Caleb, do you think it makes sense for him to turn the fight down? No.
But he's done it twice in his defence. Sorry, in Plant's defence, the 2 times he turned it down was when the first Billy Joe fight broke down because of COVID, and when he was trying to reschedule. So and when he was an alternative to the Callum Smith. So both of those times there was no crowds, so it would have been a big dent. If you're going to take a Canelo fight, you want it for the most money. So maybe now we've got crowds back. If he doesn't accept to fight now, I don't think he ever will.
Yeah, got you. All right. So now, with the talk about, Billy Joe Saunders' eye injury and people mocking it. Now, I'm of the stance, when I was first watching it on the watch-along on live, I was like, he's only got 3-4 rounds left. Why don't he just go out and do it? I didn't really know the severity of the eye. And then, because I was probably just equating it to what Daniel Dubois' one looked like. It looked like it was humongous and shut, whereas Billy Joe Saunders, I said there, but there's a dent there. But I don't know. And then, obviously, when after the fight, and they said that they feel that he's got a cracked orbital bone. Like, all right, I know why people are banging on him, and they should bang on him, because what he said about Dubois, what Dubois said about Joe Joyce's mum was a liberty, and then you got karma. And then, this is what I'm saying. Big runner mouth over there, BJS, ran his mouth about Daniel Dubois. And then look what happens to you. This is what I'm saying. Words are so powerful and people don't believe it. People don't realize that your words are mad powerful, and anything that you spit out, be prepared to stand by them, and because anything could happen once they've left your palate. But anyway, so the reports have come out that he's got a quadruped fracture of the orbital bone. So I looked at a surgeon with that. Actually, Lisa, big up Lisa, because she sent me the link to have a look at the doctor addressing this Billy Joe Saunders injury. So it is 4 complete fractures. And with this fracture, it's very, very... Daniel Dubois' one was very bad, because if you've got your basically 4 fractures from your cheek going kind of from behind the eye to the side of the eye to the front of the eye, nearly all the way round. Your eye is in danger of slipping back towards the out of the socket and detaching the retina and being blind. And he already said, and that was his lead eye, that he couldn't see. So I don't know why people have banged on him. People, I get it. I get it. Daniel Dubois got banged on as well. And I still keep the same energy, as in, you know what? If that was you lot would do the same. And I think what Mark Tibbs did was to be done. That is it. There's no ifs, there's no buts, there's no maybes. If you knew what was in there, you would, and you went blind in one eye and you felt that pain and that you felt your face break. Yeah, I'm out.
Let me interject. This has to be put into context. For Billy Joe Saunders himself, this guy went in with a description on what he would take, and he would still continue.
Yeah, he's
so
a liar.
When you stand up, and that is you, and you stand on your square, and you put another fighter down, and you call him a quitter, and you say, I could have both eye sockets broken, my teeth smashed in, my nose smashed in, my brain caved, and I'll still go out there. And then you get one injury to one eye, and you sit on your stool, and you say no repeatedly, people will come out and hold you accountable and hold you to that same standard and make sure you keep that same energy. Genuinely, yes, I don't think they're a quitter. I personally don't think they're quitting.
That's not the problem. Those are two different scenarios. We've said they chat shit. We know this because they say one thing and do another. But what I'm saying is, I get it. I get why people are mocking him. I get why people are slagging him off because of what he said about another person with the similar thing, and like what you said with even more stuff. I heard him with all of that. Oh, it's going to take him way, way, way longer to get back in the thing. I heard it. But separate that. What I'm saying, when that does happen, your team, what they did was they should have done it. What he did in the end, saying no, 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 it should have been said. Yeah, do you look like a total arsehole? Yeah, but at least you'll be an arsehole that's able to see than a blind arsehole. So I'd rather you be that than blind. I don't
know, Shad. I think BJ has a lot of people that would like to see him blind.
Yeah, but I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them that want to see him blind. I'm not one of them. I don't stand for it. People want to bang on him, cool. But don't say that if you was in the ring, other boxers have come through. Ebony Bridges, you need to sit down. The reason why you need to sit down, your eye injury wasn't the same eye injury. People in boxers get punched in the eye a lot, and a swollen eye doesn't mean your orbital bone is broken. If your orbital bone is broken and you are at the high risk, and the surgeons will tell you one more punch, and Daniel Dubois went out for 8 more rounds after sustaining that punch, yeah? And people criticise him for taking the knee, but they criticise him for taking the knee. He was a loser who's a quitter, and I didn't say that because it's his eye. But I just said I get why people are banging on him due to the fact of what he said about someone's mum, which was disgusting. But in the grand scheme of things, no, Billy Joe Saunders is technically he quitted, but I would have, and that was the right decision that he made and his team. Benji?
Yes. Again, there's a shed load to unpack with that because it's you're right, Chan. It's not just one issue. You've got 2 or 3 different issues, maybe even 4 at play. Now, when I was watching it, as Pro B said earlier, when that shot landed and Billy Joe's head came back up, that marking on his face, I saw that immediately, and I was like, "Shit! That's a very damaging punch, and that's going to swell up really badly." Canelo's reaction, he started playing up the crowd straight away. He knew. It was a hell of a moment in boxing. You don't see moments like that. He knew as soon as that punch landed, he had done serious damage, whether he heard Billy Joe cry out or his body language, you know, because obviously the boxers in the ring are seeing and hearing things very differently to what we are. So he knew the damage was done. Billy goes back to the corner. Now, his eye was not like Ebony Bridges' eye. As you said, and as you've very rightly described the fracture. Now, here's the funny thing, right? Isn't it great? When there's an eye injury or an injury in boxing, all of a sudden, everyone's a goddamn medical expert. Everyone's, oh, well, Ebony Bridges had a worse eye. No, she didn't. It looked worse. It was swollen up. But here's the thing. If you've got all the bones intact, the swelling is on the outside of the bone. Therefore, it's going to swell out. If the bone's broken, the swelling drops inside, as we saw with Margarito, who had a broken orbital bone from Pacquiao, as we saw with Kell Brook, as we've seen with a number of other people. What's your qualifications, Ben? Well, I used to be a fireman and I've done a whole load of trauma training, so I know the odd little thing about broken bones, things like that. Also, my mum was a nurse, blah, blah, blah. But everyone turns into that, well, I need to see the x-rays. Why? So you can pretend you're a doctor and go, nice one, Doogie Howser. Yeah, it was actually, come on. So boxing fans in general, we all need to wind our necks in and not pretend we know more about medical issues. You cannot say that two eye injuries, one is worse than the other because it looks that way. There's a hell of a lot that goes on inside the face or the brain that it's the damage we don't see. That's what I'm trying to say. So
we can't compare, and we also can't compare an uppercut from Canelo to an uppercut from Shannon Courtney.
From a 8-stone woman, please get out.
We can't compare the two.
Do you know what I mean?
Don't get me wrong. Bridges was a warrior for what she did, and I'd even say Billy Joe was a warrior for how he acted for the remainder of that round. Because after he took that heavy punch, he was still in there. He was still acting. He made it back to the round. So he deserves. I still think he showed warrior spirit until he sat on the stool and didn't get back up again.
Yeah, and look, Mark Tibbs, as has been said, he made completely the correct decision. If you're a coach and you've got a fight with that sort of injury, and if you let them out for the next round, you are a shit coach. That would be a really bad decision because you're there to protect and look after your boxer. Because you might have some nut bar boxer who is like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to go out and I'm going to die in the ring. You are there to protect the boxer from doing something stupid. You really are. So Tibbs did exactly the right thing. The other thing is as well, look, I might you guys might disagree with me. Billy Joe Saunders was never going to win that fight. He was never going to win that fight. So why are you going to go out? Why are you going to go out with a severe injury to box on in a fight that you ain't going to win? What is there to prove? What do you get?
The only reason I was
saying, oh, go back out. Like, you just finish off on points, lose on the points. But I didn't realise that he had I wasn't confirmed that it was an orbital issue like that. So I was he could still go out. I just thought it was his eye and that was
any other sport.
Just go out on
in any other sport. If you had a marathon runner, if you had like Mo Farah is running along, he's competitive, he's just dropping off the back of the pack and he twists his ankle, right? Yeah. Does he run another 13 miles on a twisted ankle just to finish the race? Yeah, and then sacrifice the whole rest of his season, or does he call it a day on that race so then he can race again and maybe win again in the future? Any other sport, you do that. You cut your losses. But again, where's the reward? If you're carrying on in a fight that you're going to lose, where's the reward? Some twat on the internet said, oh, well, he didn't give up. Good old Bill. Good old this, that, and what, the admiration of some twat on the internet really doesn't matter. So, but the thing is, I'm staying consistent.
His integrity, his integrity should matter. He said that he would go through worse.
Look, here's where I agree. I'm not going to call Boxer a quitter or anything like that. But if it was Billy Joe Saunders watching another boxer in that same, if that had been Chris Eubank Jr., Billy Joe Saunders would be giving all that and everything. No, but look, hypotheticals. We're talking.
I can imagine BJS. Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you're absolutely right. If Billy Joe Saunders is getting pelters off people on the internet for this, I'm not going to go out of my way to defend him because it's karma.
Like that. Yeah, because it's a karma thing, isn't it?
I think I got through my list.
Did you get through, Ben? You got through it with us just pelting you with info and stats and opinions and stuff.
No, I'm loving it.
So technically, is he a quitter?
Technically, no. Technically, no.
No, well, I'm not. I'll say no.
Sorry.
Because I'm not going to call.
Technically, he is. But I get why he is.
Look,
Sorry,
I'm not.
But he should have quit.
On a live stream, I'm not going to call a professional boxer a quitter. I'm not going to do it. So.
Okay, well, I will. Technically, he quitted on
But
the
he should have.
But he should have. Yeah, that's it.
Maybe we need to get away from this stigma of boxers. I mean, it doesn't help when they say I'll never quit, but maybe we need to get away from the stigma of boxers saying when they've had enough, like as if it's something wrong.
Well, then he should stop saying stuff, man.
Yes, he brought it on himself, but
Gosh, he needs to stop all of that. This is what I'm saying. Right now, their whole, like, what makes them is just being, like, we can see holes forming in every angle. Like, it's just, they're just contradicting everything, and just to do themselves a favor, just to say nothing. Sometimes,
I mean,
just say nothing.
If I was Tyson Fury, I'd be worrying about all the comments I made about Josh Reader's quitting talk, and a lot of people's words are coming back to bite them, and it's just, it's just too much. I mean, boxing. That's the point, though, isn't it? You get trash talking. You get it. It's like, are you supposed to be their friend and be supportive all the time? Like,
yeah. Well, boy.
And it gets them traction. It gets the fights known, and it gets them more money to secure their futures.
Sure. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I'm fully in agreement that you should have like quit or retired on the stool. Sounds nicer. Or your team pull you out. Definitely. But then moving along, where does he go after it? Because for me, I heard the injury is very, very bad, you know, guys, and it's like at least a year, and you're going to be. That's why it made me even respect Kell Brook even more, because Kell Brook's gone through that twice and still come out to play. Like, do you know what I mean? And Billy Joe Saunders, if he could retire now that we're speaking about it properly, because if he does go on, it's not a problem. All I'm saying, he could retire because, let me just finish my point. He could retire because he's gone to the highest point that you can get to. And I'm not saying there's other fights, and he's lost now as a champ. And, you know, you lost against the pound for pound king. Yeah, it's all right. You've got a very bad injury. It's cool. You've got £3 million, a share of the PPV. It's cool. Why not retire? Not a problem. Go, Lee.
I would say that there are, of course, a meaningful fight to him to have once he's healed, repaired, and come back. Absolutely. But Billy Joe has always had a problem of raising his game unless the opponents are the best. And he's fought the best now. You know, so is he going to even? Where's he going to get his motivation from? He had no motivation to get up for John Ryder or Martin Murray. He had no motivation for that. He got himself. This was his motivated point with Canelo, and he got his orbital bone fractured. I think, how else is he going to dedicate himself to train? Is he going to? It's just, it makes sense for me if he just steps away now. Yeah. Because this was the fight he always wanted. He'd always said he can beat him. He gave it a good go, and he clearly couldn't. So,
yeah, I get you, Lee.
Absolutely. I don't really see the point of him carry on, because, you know, it's like if you go up Mount Everest and then you come back to the UK and then go up Mount Snowdon, which is like a tiny little molehill compared to Everest. or what's the point? Once you've gone up the biggest mountain, you might as well just put the camping gear away, hang up the hiking boots, because you're never going to beat that experience, especially if you get a shitload of money for it. Just to echo what Leon's just said, look, he went to the peak. He gave it a good go. He won some rounds. I thought he gave a good account of himself. He just came up a bit short, and he's sustained a horrific injury. He's had a full career. He's made a whole load of money. What's the point coming back to the UK to have a rematch with Chris Eubank Jones Jr. What's the point? There's just none, is there? So, I think Billy Joe, if I was him, heal up, be happy that you've got your faculties, you've got the big bank balance, enjoy your kids, enjoy your life. It's
go wild on social media and know the British Boxing Board of Control can't find you a penny.
Okay, fair point. Yeah.
Say anything you want, then, man. We just choose to ignore you or engage whenever we want.
Once you're retired, you can't be cancelled.
Yeah, well, you can. You can be cancelled still from like celebrity. Like people would be like, "Oh, that's an outrageous thing that he said." Cancel Billy Joe Saunders, but you just can't be cancelled from. But you can still be cancelled from life. But no one cancels anyone permanently anymore, anyway. So yeah, you're right. You can't be cancelled. But yeah, that's where I've got it. Does anybody want to make any other points before closing?
I do think it is. It is starkly different.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what has been interesting, as you said, is the comparison between how it was publicly when Dubois took the knee to when Billy Joe quit on his stall, and it's just shown it's been a lot more harsh. It was a lot more harsh on Dubois.
Right.
It's been a lot more harsh, and I think it's because of promotional ties with the Zone and Matchroom IFL being like a huge stable. Must be a lot of maybe loyalty going on, and people not having the same energy. And it's a case of Dubois was with the smaller promoter in Queensbury, so all the rivals just went to town on him, and it hasn't been fair. I mean, it has opened a debate of how we discuss boxers when they quit, and it's a healthy debate that should happen. But I think the crime shouldn't be called in a boxer quitting. Maybe the crime should be a boxer being put in a position where he has to quit, and a trainer not stepping in, keeping them from harm. But do
you think Dubois has been? They've gone down harder on him. Pause.
They went down a lot harsher on Dubois.
Yeah,
a lot harsher. And the same people that said Dubois quit.
Question, Lee. I'm asking you a question. Do you think they've gone down harder on Dubois solely because of what promoter he's got?
Yeah, that's what I put it down to. The promoters. It's just promoters having to go. Same way that Frank jumped up and when Dillian got knocked out and spoke up, it was a promotional thing. He just wanted to have a dig at one of Hearn's fighters, and I think it was the same way back. That's why there's a lot of the people that were having a dig at Dubois aren't keeping that same energy when it comes to Billy Joe Saunders.
I don't think it's solely down to that, but in my opinion,
you do get a lot of Matchroom fanboys. Matchroom fanboys is they do exist, which is I've always found that weird. How you can just be automatically be a fan of the Matchroom boxer. I mean, I've experienced that before. I remember O'Hara Davis and Josh Taylor. I remember picking Josh Taylor to win that, and he wasn't on Matchroom. He didn't have the same amount of airtime and hype as O'Hara Davis, and people are going, "How can you pick Josh Taylor to win? O'Hara Davis will knock him out." Blah 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 blah. And it's because the Matchroom fanboys just knew that they were going with the name they knew and they'd seen on TV. They hadn't done any research, because I didn't know Josh Taylor that well, but before I did my preview prediction video, I went on YouTube. I watched, I updated myself on his fights, and I looked at his fighting style and thought, yeah, this guy's going to do O'Hara Davis. I've still got the video. I could, if anyone doubts it, I can make it public. It's out there. But you know, that happened. Just one thing that I want to say on the whole quitting thing. I think there might be a kind of a generational issue here. My first memories of boxing are Eubank versus Watson and Ben versus McClellan. Those are two of my earliest memories of boxing. And I saw on TV both those incidents happen. And look, you got to remember, Gerald McClellan, he went down to one knee, got up and walked back to the corner. And within those 10 seconds of him taking a knee, getting up and walking back to the corner, you would say, oh, McClellan, he quit. He's a quitter. 10 seconds after that, he's fighting for his life in the corner. So just because, you know, it's like what I said before, just because it's not an obvious injury or you think you know what the injury is, you don't know what's going on inside. And thankfully, I don't think, I mean, obviously we had George Groves and Gutknecht, and we've had Eubank and Black
Junior.
Well, and was it Nick Blackwell? We have had a couple of incidents, serious incidents in boxing, but maybe not as high profile as the McClellan and Watson thing. And I think either, you know, that we have a generation of boxing fans that don't remember that or didn't witness that, or maybe people have kind of forgotten about it. But this is why I'm always very hesitant on this whole quitter thing. I never want to see a repeat of Watson or McClellan's injuries ever again in a boxing ring.
Yeah, that was terrible.
The whole quitting thing. Yeah, and we're almost, boxing fans need to be a bit more self-aware and realise we don't want to encourage that. We don't want to encourage a situation that could lead to those previous situations.
And Woody, he was at the McCullum fight. Look. Wow. So you saw that.
And I think we need to, you know, I think they were saying that it was Frank Warren that was incremental, working with the British Boxing Board of Control and getting stages where we can reduce those things happening. I think they talk about distances from arenas to hospitals that have brain scan equipments that to give the boxers every chance, because there's a golden period of time where you can keep them alive. So he works really hard with that when all of that happens.
It's the goal now. It's the same with car crashes. Yeah, it's the same with car accidents, car crashes. You've got 1 hour between a serious trauma happening and getting someone to hospital. And because, rightly so, because of those incidents, Watson and McClellan, the rules changed about access and egress to the building, the distance to the hospital, the medical staff at ringside. You probably, I mean, I've noticed when a fight ends, there's still a lot of people get in the ring after the fight, but it's nowhere near the way it was. And if it looks like there is an injured boxing in the ring, security immediately do not let hangers on and other people come into the ring. If you watch how it used to be, like with the McClellan thing, as soon as that fight finished, and Nigel Benn raised his hands, the amount of people that got into the ring, so medical staff and people couldn't work and get McClellan out, it used to be a massive problem because everyone wants to be in the damn ring shaking hands with the guy who won.
Yeah, and I even seen, like, you even saw, like, back in when it was Don King, and Don King would promote one person, and then when the loser, when his client lost, he would go on, or he would then, you know, be over with the opposition side. Like, so yeah, it's always been, I remember the I think the Watts one, I think, is that with Ben, Nigel Benn.
Was that Watson? Yeah.
Oh, Nigel Benn did the damage to that boxer.
So McClellan.
Chris Eubanks did it. And then Chris
Eubank was junior or senior, you're talking about?
Senior.
That was what?
Yeah. And then he weren't the same after that, Chris Eubanks, was he?
He definitely didn't go in for he used to hold back afterwards. He wasn't the same guy. You could tell that affected him badly.
Ben wasn't the same after McClellan. And you could say that George Groves wasn't after Edward Gutknecht. Really?
I don't know.
Well, George Groves. George Groves had a kind of a routine fight, or it was meant to be a routine fight. and he boxed this lad Eddie Gutknecht, and it might have gone the distance actually. And George Groves even said, you know, there's a very good interview with George Groves where he talks about this, and he was thinking, why is this guy coming out round after round? What is the point? Why haven't the corner taken him out? Why isn't he retired on his stool? Why does this guy? He's taking more punishment than he needs to take, and he had severe brain damage following the fight, and it really did. I can't. It was a good few years ago now, so I can't quite remember. But Kell Brook on the undercard. George Groves on the undercard of Kell Brook versus Errol Spence. George Groves boxed Chudinov. And he was actually asked about Eddie Gutknecht. And it was a really tasteless question. And I can't remember who it was that was interviewing him. But George Groves was like, this is the day before I'm about to go and box for a world title against Chudinov. Why are you asking me about Eddie Gutknecht? You know, of course, I wish him and his all the best. But it was pretty fucking disgusting, to be honest, that someone would raise that subject with him, you know, at the weigh-in the day before a fight.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
See, Woody, I was right. Eubank and Nigel Benn did fight Watson. Yeah, but Eubank's the one that did the damage to him. Yeah. Bloody hell, man. We hope that, obviously, like I said, Daniel Dubois makes a good recovery. He's fighting in 4 weeks, so he seems to be back on it. I'm glad for that. It's just the difference is Daniel Dubois is like 20 years old, so, you know, he's got a lot of time to come back into the game, whereas such a devastating injury to BJS at the age of 30, it's just a different thing. But I wish him the best, and I wish him the full recovery, even though he's a knob at a certain time. But BJS, we got your best wishes out there, mate. Like, yeah, just sometimes just be quiet sometimes. But yeah, we've got no ill intent over in this side anyway. I never wish anybody any ill intent and stuff. Always a full recovery. Do you know what I mean? So he's just going to have to ride out the, you know, by 2 weeks' time, everyone will forget about him doing that. You know how the news is. 1 minute you're this and on Insta, and everyone throws up an Instagram post. The next day, no one remembers you. So, you know, he's just got to take the rough with the smooth into the sport. And yeah, he will be the butt of a lot of jokes and memes, which I've already seen coming out in drones. But after that, you know, it'd be all right. Yeah, Shelton, he should retire. He should consider retirement. Definitely, I agree. And there was this comment about David Hay. Sorry, just haven't saw David Hay drop a few guys inspiring at shoots. But oh, okay, close to prime beast. Okay, yeah. So that's where we was, guys, and that's where we are so far. That took up our week in boxing. Really, that was the main events. And what we got coming up next? In the world. So we've got who fights next? Is there any fights?
May the 15th. Why have I got Devin Haney in my head for May the 15th?
Because he might be with Linares. He might be the 15th. No, I thought he was the 20th.
Yeah, I might be wrong.
Is he the 20th? Have we got Devin? I'm sure Devin Haney's the 20-something. I don't know.
Josh Taylor and Ramirez, isn't that?
Josh Taylor and Ramirez. Yeah.
That'd be good.
Who have you got for that bench? I've got Ramirez.
Well, I'd love to see. I love Josh Taylor. I like his style of boxing.
Yeah, I just don't think he's going to win.
Very tough fight. Very tough fight.
Who do you think is going to win, though? I don't know.
Come on, Josh Taylor. Do it.
I want Josh Taylor to win. I want him to win. Well, no. Do you know what? I don't really care. Let me take that back.
Well, that's it. I just want to see a good competitive fight.
Yeah, I just want to see a good fight.
It's too close to call. It's too close to call.
See a good fight, but I do think Ramirez will edge it. Josh Taylor, very good boxer. But if your name's Josh and you fight on a Saturday, you lose. Warrington didn't make it. Kelly didn't make it. I just don't think Taylor's going to be third time unlucky. of this thing.
That's an interesting statistic. Josh is on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Josh, but I just want to see a good fight, and if he does win, yeah, it's all good. So we've got that to look forward to. We've got, we've got 2 in May. We've got the Ramirez Taylor Ramirez, whatever, and we've got the Haney Linares, and then I think it goes into June where we have the Teofimo. But I did see some kerfuffle that they're trying to change the date or something because of something happening that's clashing with something else. So I can't wait to see the Haney Linares, actually. Yeah, it's the 29th. Taylor Ramirez. Okay. Frankie Shelton. Neri v. Figueroa. That's it. Saturday. Taylor v. Ramirez. Yeah, because we were talking about that, wasn't we, Shelton? Figueroa. I was saying, how do you say it? Yeah, and Haney Linares the 29th. And then we go into June and we've got Teofimo Lopez with George Camboso. So, yeah, we will touch on all those things. Definitely. I want to say, everybody, thank you for joining us on the chat. Benji, tell everybody Buatsi is next. I don't know where Buatsi may be next, Chris. He may be. I've been seeing him with who's he with? Who's he? Virgil. He's with Virgil, isn't he? So I did see some sparring from him, so looking good. Or is it Virgil or Victor Ortiz? I get him mixed up. Is it Virgil? Who's the trainer? Virgil, Victor Ortiz.
I'm not sure.
Victor Ortiz. One's a boxer, one's the trainer. But he was a boxer as well. But who's training Buatsi? I'm sure it's.
This is why you need Pro B's know. Pro B's definitely know.
And they both begin with V. They both begin with V. Both got the same surname. It's either Victor or Virgil. One of the other. Sorry, but yeah, maybe Buatsi. I did see him training. But Benj, tell them where they can find you and coming.
YouTube channels, Benji Boxing. You'll find me, and on Twitter, I'm on Twitter a hell of a lot at the Benji Life on Twitter. And it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, Chan, for inviting me on. We finally got it sorted. Our schedules finally worked. It's been difficult, but it's been an absolute pleasure. Triple F Fight Fan Figures. It's been an absolute pleasure.
A pleasure, Benji. Pleasure to share a panel with you. Thank you.
Always a pleasure, Benji. Always a pleasure. I'm glad we finally got it going. And yeah, guys, thank you for everyone in the chat coming through like the mother in. Whoa, Shelton, Lisa, Woody. You know you are Gorgora, Ruga. You guys and your fucking YouTube names are wild. Yeah, I can't even pronounce half of them. Incognito, always a pleasure. You know, everyone that is on there. Ivan, Georgiev, big up to you. I don't think I said your comment. Sorry, plant is more fragile. I think I did see that. Then BJS, you never know. Annalie, hola, mi cariña. Yeah, I wanted to speak in Spanish, but I just realized. Hola, mi cariña, ¿todo bien? Espero que todo bien para ti, sí? Okay, Lisa, we've already said to you. Big up my girl, Lisa. Paul Young, everybody. Late show, 42. Everyone's on there. It's so many to go through, but thanks for everybody coming through. And we are signing out. So, hey girl, it's Leah Sham. Nonetheless, come box with Sham. Thanks, guys. Gone.